So guys, we are less than 1 week away from the FNCS Global Championship. This is going to be the tournament that FN Competitive has been building up to all year. I'm very excited for this tournament, and in today's video, I want to go over my predictions for who I think is going to perform at this tournament and who I think could potentially even win it. Now, I'm really excited to go into this video because I actually worked really hard on researching different duos, seeing what they've done, and I'm really excited to give you guys my list because it actually might have some hot takes that you guys might not agree with. But be sure to stay till the end of the video to see all of the teams that I'm ranking. Let's hop right into it. So I want to start off by going over the team from Brazil. This is going to be King and Phaser. Now, obviously, King is pretty much a household name for Fortnite competitive at this point. A lot of you know exactly who he is and what he's done. King was the little kid in World Cup that absolutely trashed on Tfue. He ran around the lobby at the end of the game. He was absolutely destroying everybody. That's going to be King. But obviously, it's been 4 years since then, and King is a much different player now, but he's still on top of the Brazil region. Now, King and Phaser as a duo have won 3 duo cash cups on Brazil, which is not an easy task considering how competitive Brazil has gotten. On top of winning those 2 duo cash cups, they also won the Chapter 4 Season 2 and Chapter 4 Season 3 FNCS for Grand Finals. Now, that's extremely impressive considering that they've been dominating for the past 2 seasons. No other team has even been able to come close to winning a Grand Finals. And then, of course, guys, King does have a really good LAN performance history. Obviously, during World Cup, he was extremely effective. He's been performing during tons of other LANs. Last year, there was the FNCS Invitational LAN. Overall, I really think that King is a very valuable choice. I think Phaser is an extremely good player, extremely underrated on the region of Brazil, and I think King and Phaser can really do well in this FNCS tournament. Alright, now my next team is going to be coming from the region of NA. This is going to be Agers in Canada. Now, I feel like this is kind of a no-brainer pick, especially considering the last season and what they did. Agers and Canada have been together for over 1 year, and they have built incredible chemistry, and they are an extremely well-developed duo. They have multiple top 5 places in duo cash cups, including winning some, so that's extremely impressive that they've been able to place a bunch of times top 5 in duo cash cups and win a couple. And then they also got second in the Chapter 4 Season 1 FNCS Grand Final, and then first in the Chapter 4 Season 3 FNCS Grand Final. This made them one of the most dominant teams on NA. They're extremely well developed, they have an extremely good game plan, one of the best duos on NA by far. I personally think that Agers and Canada are also one of the best fighting duos. Canada obviously coming from that Zone Wars background, an extremely well developed fighter, incredible mechanics. Agers as well, one of the best players, extremely well developed when it comes to moving around and fighting and tarping, really good. I think Agers and Canada are a great pick for you guys if you want to try to have someone that you think will perform at this LAN. Now, the next team from NA, this is going to be Acorn and Cold. Now, Acorn and Cold have placed top 10 in every single FNCS Grands they've played together. They've won Chapter 4 Season 2 FNCS Grands. They also have multiple top 5s in duo cash cups, and they've won plenty as well. I think that Acorn and Cold are extremely well developed because they've been together all chapter as well, and they have also built tons of chemistry similar to Agers and Canada. Now, going into more of what I think Acorn and Cold can do separately and what they have done separately in the past, obviously Cold and Scented used to be the duo, and then Acorn would just kind of move around with Edgy, he would be with Jack, he would be with whoever way in the back. I personally think separately in the past, including Chapter 2 and even Chapter 1, Acorn and Cold are extremely well-developed competitive players. Acorn actually won a Grand Finals in Chapter 2. He won an FNCS Trios Grand Final alongside Jack and Slacks. I personally think that Acorn is one of the best competitive players NA has ever produced, especially over the past couple of years. He's been performing extremely well, and I think that Acorn can really perform. And of course, Cold is one of the best fighters. He's an extremely well-developed player. Scented taught him a lot when he played with Scented. He improved quite a bit over this past couple 2 chapters, and I think Acorn and Cold are definitely going to perform on this FNCS LAN. And now, guys, for my final duo from NA, this is going to be Clix and Epic Whale. Now, this might surprise some of you considering that they really haven't been together for that much time. They also happen to have the worst placements, having to qualify through the last chance major for this FNCS LAN. They have okay Cash Cup placements, but nothing too crazy, no really big wins or anything. However, even after all of that stuff that I just said about this duo, Epic Whale is still one of the greatest LAN players of all time. He won the Gamers 8 LAN alongside Malibuca, he came 3rd in the World Cup, and he's performed well at every single DreamHack LAN he's ever played, including the other LANs, and he's performed well at every single DreamHack LAN he's ever played. Now, that's obviously Epic Whale, but what about Clix? There's 2 parts to a duo here. Clix is also no stranger to LANs, even though he struggled to perform at them sometimes. You know, not really being able to place top 10 in World Cup, not being able to place very well at Gamers 8, struggling at the FNCS Invitational last year. He still qualified to all of them and definitely competed at all of them. Obviously, World Cup, DreamHack, FNCS, Gamers 8, all of them he's qualified to, and he's been able to actually perform and ensure that he's able to actually make the leaderboards and not come last or any of the lower places. Now, obviously, that is a pretty low bar. However, Clix is still one of the greatest fighters on the whole region. With the mind of an IGL like Epic Whale, and then the mechanics and fighting of a person like Clix, I think this duo is destined for success at this LAN. Now let's move into the region of Europe. Now Europe has a bunch of really good teams, but I want to highlight 3 that I really think are going to do very well. The first one is definitely going to have to be Queasy in Vino. Now this team has been together for over 1 year. They've come top 5 in every single grand finals they've ever played in, including winning Chapter 4 Season 2. They have multiple Duo Cash Cup top 10s and top 5s, and they've won plenty of them. And the biggest thing in my opinion for this duo is their great performance on the last year's FNCS Invitational LAN. They came 2nd place in the LAN last year, so I have tons of confidence in them to actually perform considering their online placements and their LAN placements as a duo. Now going into each player, I think that Vino is one of the greatest fighters and is a really smart player. He's really matured over the past 2 years a lot. And obviously Queasy is one of the longtime greats of EU competitive Fortnite. He's an extremely well-developed player, a very smart IGL. He's been moving around, tarping, learning how to do the ins and outs of the game for much time now. Especially in Chapter 4, I think he's on top of the meta and he's one of the best players in the whole world. That's what I think Queasy and Vino are going to do this season. Now let's move on to Seti and Cammy. Now Seti and Cammy are the top 5 in Chapter 4 Season 2 and Chapter 4 Season 3 FNCS Grand Finals. They also have fantastic cash cup placements, multiple wins over the last couple of seasons. And the one thing that I think really solidifies them is that they've been together the longest out of every single duo on this list. Seti and Cammy played all of trios together. They've played all of duos together, and they've been playing together pretty much since the start of Chapter 2. It's a ridiculously long time to be playing together. They have incredible chemistry. They were on orgs together. They went to training camps together. They went to boot camps together. Seti and Cammy are truly one of the most well-developed and best chemistry duos on this list by far. And also, not to mention, last year, they won the FNCS Invitational LAN. That was probably the biggest win in competitive Fortnite history since the World Cup, and they actually popped out and won it. That's one of the best performances from any duo I've ever seen, so I personally think that Seti and Cammy are extremely valuable pick, and a really intelligent pick for you guys to actually choose. I think they're going to do extremely well in this tournament, so you guys definitely need to follow them throughout the tournament and understand exactly how they're playing, what they're doing, because you guys can learn a lot from this team considering their extreme amount of success in the past 2 years. Now, my final pick, before I go into it, I do want to do some honorable mentions. Now, of course, we have Ryzen and Yamzo from the region of NA, Booga and Threats as well, Dukes and Edgy, and then from EU, we have Tayson and Mustach, Mr. Savage and Vadil, and then Janice and Reason. Now, obviously, all those teams are just as qualified to be on this list as any of the others, but I still think there's a chance that any of these teams could pop out and do extremely well in this tournament. Of course, that might change, obviously. But now let's get into my number 1 pick for who I think is really going to pop off in this tournament. I think Malabuka and Thomas HD are definitely going to do extremely well in this tournament. Now, obviously, they had the Chapter 4 Season 1 and the Chapter 4 Season 2 top 5s, multiple Cash Cup wins. The rest of them were either top 5 or top 10. Malabuka and Thomas have also been consistent all chapter. Thomas HD obviously having the incredible sniper aim, really good surge, one of the best surge players in the whole world actually. They're also extremely good LAN players with great performances at Gamers 8, which Malabuka actually won, and then the FNCS Invitational last year as well. So they're very well-developed players, very solid picks for competitive. However, in my opinion, the biggest thing for Malabuka, some people, including me, have considered Malabuka to actually be the greatest player since the end of Chapter 2. I personally believe that Malabuka's actually had the most consistent and the best placements throughout all of competitive Fortnite since Chapter 2 ended. That's almost 2 years of competitive Fortnite with extremely good placements. Now, of course, you guys can take that information as you will. You guys can disagree, agree with it, whatever it may be. I still think that Malabuka and Thomas HD are one of the best picks for you guys to actually choose in this FNCS LAN. Guys, those are my genuine picks for who I think is going to perform at this FNCS LAN. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. I really enjoyed making this video, and I think that if you guys take these picks into consideration, you might be able to understand where I'm coming from. Now, once again, I really want you guys to make sure that you're watching this LAN. That's one of the biggest things. All the best teams in the whole world are going to be playing. It's the biggest prize pool since World Cup. It's definitely a LAN that I would watch if I were you guys. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.